Hi, this is Jack from Alpha Charts with a stocks to watch video. Today is September 19th, 2021. Before we get started, this video is for informational purposes only. These are not recommendations to buy, sell, or hold any stock or security, and I may hold positions in some of the equities mentioned. Know your time frame and risk tolerance. All right, so summer is over, the fall has begun, quad witching is done. So we actually will start. For me, this is like a new beginning in a lot of ways. So where are we in the market? Obviously, I go over that in my state of the market video on Saturday. But with that being said, there's obviously some weakness coming in, but nothing that has violated anything really that significantly for me yet. We have some levels here, and we have RSP. We have some issues potentially coming here. We don't know what's going to happen yet, so we'll have to see. So this video is going to highlight the best setups I can find, and there's actually quite a few of them. I actually had to take some out because I only want to focus on the best of the best. But there's actually quite a few growth names still holding up well, which I was really surprised and happy to see. So let's start. All right, first one is going to be U. U looks absolutely amazing. I mean, we have this uptrend that really started from here back in May, and it's just going higher. Good volume on the down days. You're seeing much lower volume, so that's always nice to see. Just go screaming higher. That's Unity Software. Next up is going to be Palantir, your old friend Palantir. This was the range. There was a VWAP pinch. Great volume coming in, tightness coming in on the right side of this chart. So it's trying to make its first real IPO base, we'll call it, right? That's what this is. I think getting up to 39-ish or so makes a lot of sense. And then, we'll see what happens at that point, right? If it breaks out, if it pulls back, whatever. If it makes it up there, of course. But this one looks real good. Palantir. Next up, Datadog is on there like literally every week. I've been watching it since this day. And so now this past week, it did move out. Pulled back a little bit on Friday, but nothing too crazy. Above all the VWAPs and moving averages and at all-time highs. So that's Datadog. Snow is next, and here's again another more recent IPO, last year's class. And just coming back up to this important area, trying to break higher above all, trending high above its moving averages. And this most recent VWAP right here looks pretty important on the gap. Here's your IPO VWAP down here. Everything is looking good, lots of volume coming in, curving these VWAPs north. Looks real nice. Snow. Snap. Again, I've been watching it since this IPO, and it's done. I mean, not IPO, gap, and it's done nothing. Literally sideways, nothing. And it is below the VWAP from this, but it's right there, and it is holding above the 69.75-ish area. So I mean, I would love to see this move higher. Obviously, this is actionable. Well, you need to prove itself. It's creating a nice little, shelf right here of volume. Again, if it gets above it, then this area could be considered support, in my opinion, and probably this VWAP right there would act as the marker. So Snap needs a little bit more time, I think, to prove itself, but it's setting up nicely. There's Z, again, IPO class of 2020. I feel like it was a lot of good draft picks in 2020, right? You had Palantir, you had Snow, you had Unity. Unity was 2020, right? Yeah, that was 2022. 20 also. So we're talking about Z now, though. Again, lots of great draft picks. I think we'll be talking about that class for a long time. This one started to tighten up on this side, broke out, trying to get to all-time highs. Let's zoom in on this area. It broke out right there, which I liked. Low volume, though, came back in. Squad witching. Don't worry about this too much. I don't think. It's above its rising moving averages. It may come back. It may come into the 66, 66.50-ish, and then maybe move higher from there. But I think going against these moving averages makes a lot of sense. The trend is higher. which I like. Again, and look at this volume that's come in. People are interested in this name again, ZI. AppLovin. This is a newer IPO, and you see it's been a little bit erratic, and now it's a little bit loose in here, right? So take it, as it is, right? I would, definitely use a wider stop on this one potentially. Maybe the VWAP from the IPO makes sense. Smaller position size in order to do that. But what caught my attention was the volume. So yeah, it's a little bit looser in here, but I do like that there's big green bars, and when it pulls back, it's pulling back on lower volume. I think that's really good, and that's what really caught my attention. That's APP. EXPI is next. So this one was a IPO. It's been a while, actually. Yeah, this one's been a while, but it got gained some traction last year, and now it's been kind of chopping around a little bit. And let's zoom into this most recent area again, just under this VWAP from this big gap day earnings day right there. And it's kind of been moving sideways in a reasonable range. Maybe you could draw a trend line like this, something like that, to see if it breaks out to give yourself an early entry. You would have to get back above VWAP, which I like that. And then would have to also, these would have to be curling up again. A lot of, areas, and probably break out above 49, 10, 49, 50-ish, somewhere around there. Gets above this area. I think that this one can move much, much higher. Decent volume coming in on the earnings for sure. And a few days afterwards, we had the follow through, which was nice to see. Then the chill out period. And now we're ready to make the right side of the space. So that's EXPI. ZS. A lot of the cybersecurity names are looking good. ZS is one of them. Again, beautiful trend higher. That looks like a place where I could put a VWAP, and maybe this one right here too, after earnings. And it's holding the VWAP from after earnings. So I think that's probably the more important one currently. And so, yeah, so great risk reward here. It was big up, came back down into the moving averages. I mean, I would use, for me, 268 as my potential stop there. Closed below it. You see it has not closed below the 23-day since May. So the 23 days is a pretty good guide on this particular stock. So something to watch. And again, that's where I would look for this one, ZS. Next up is GLBE. GLBE, a newer IPO name. There's your VWAP from the IPO. Really liked how there's decreasing volume here. Then we had a little increase in volume, but you had this day. And so a lot of stuff going on with this one, but it's basically moving sideways, consolidating this big up. I mean, it went from $25 to $63 in a very short period of time. Well, now it has to go sideways a little bit, right? And now it's what it's doing. It looks like it may be ready to launch off of here. So that's a place to potentially manage risk again. So there's a big day there. So you have to, know your time frame and your risk tolerance. But that's definitely one to look at, potential launch pad coming off here. All right. Put VWAP on this day too, right there. Yeah, so there's some nice little VWAPs underneath it right there. All right, that's GLBE. And my last one in this section is going to be AVLR. AVLR is some kind of accounting software. Nice, beautiful base right here. I mean, very, very symmetrical in its structure. It came back. We had a retest right here. It held, and now it's moving higher. You want risk reward? There you go. I mean, look at this accumulation, quite a bit in here. You had this one day right there that was some distribution, but after that, really, if anything else, this was a shakeout day. And really just a nice accumulation going on in this name. So AVLR looks pretty good. So there you go. I think those were 11 names there. And those were my actionable names, right? All of them were pretty close to being actionable probably this week. Okay. Soon names probably, watch. It could be this week, probably more likely 2 weeks or so. And these are my soon. First one, I have 8 of these. Docs was the first one. All right, and here's Docs. It's a nice name, newer IPO. A lot of topping tails out here, so some looseness in it. I think it needs to tighten up a little bit. Again, we've had a couple of tight days right here, which is nice. But yeah, so I'm watching it. It's at an area that's important, but not one I'm ready to jump in on. I think it needs to prove itself a little bit more. DOCS, MDB, MongoDB. Again, there's your gap. There's your sideways movement. It probably just needs a little bit more time, in my opinion. It tried to break out, once here, try to break out once here. Found sellers both times. So my guess would be it needs to come back, retest, let these moving averages catch up. They're still quite a distance away, and then maybe potentially move higher. But it looks great. Definitely one on the watch list. NCNO. Again, there's your gap. There's your VWAP, the gap. Try to break higher. Came back, retested. 10%. These moving averages. 23 days, about 10% away. Still pretty good distance away. I think it needs a little bit more time to chop around, maybe come back into the 75 area, let the moving averages catch up a little bit more, and then potentially move higher, make this right side of whatever it's trying to do here. But again, nice big volume on this gap up, and close, we'll call it, was that 50-60% of its range, which is not bad, right? Not bad. It held it pretty good. So NCNO. WMG, Warner Music Group. So, I mean, it's a straight up breakout, right? Some tight days in here, moved higher, some more a little bit tightness in here. It just looks good, and lots of accumulation going on. I mean, not your typical growth name, but it is, it's looking nice, and nice place to manage risk. Is not too far extended, so it looks good. Doesn't is it going to come back and retest 39.50-ish? Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's getting a little extended, maybe not. Let's see how far that is. Yeah, about 6.5% from the 23 days. So not terrible, really. That's WMG. Next up is ZipRecruiter. So this one, I think, needs just a little bit more time. It's starting to take off. Came back in a little bit on Friday. I do like the bullish cross right there. I like how VWAP from the IPO has held 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, right? 5 times it got tested, and 5 times it's held. It's kind of trending higher. It all looks pretty good. A little bit loose, so it's one that I'm going to watch a little bit longer. But I think overall looks pretty good. Zip apps, APPS. This one we've traded in the past. Great volume coming in just recently. So we traded in the past. It was an absolute beast, Digital Turbine, absolute beast. And then it got loose and wide, and all kinds of stuff happening. Lower highs, lower lows, right? Boom, 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 boom. Then it came back, retested, broke down, came back through. Anyway, this right here, though, this says that there's new interest in this particular name. Throw VWAP probably right there. Yeah, that looks pretty good right there. I think that, this $62 or so is a place to manage risk against. Is it going to keep going higher? Maybe. And if it does, it's got a pretty good upside potential. What is it, about 50% or so? Yeah, I mean, 43, 44%, 45%, something like that, upside potential. So yeah, so if you get a good entry in this and then manage risk against the 62 area, pretty good risk reward. Apps. Here is one I got from Ben at Pattern Profits. He has a new newsletter out, and he has a section in there talking about different setups and things like that, and it's really, really good. So anyway, if you haven't checked it out, check him out on Twitter at Pattern Profits. It's Ben, you know him well, and anyway, VNOM was off that list. So it's an oil and gas name, and going back, this area has been, I think, important in the past, and now it's starting to break out. And not only are we seeing breakout, but we're seeing accumulation in this name and a nice hammer right there. So that was, I think, really, really good. And here we go. I found his thing. Yeah. So what I like about his thing, I hope you guys can see this on the video, is the scanner heat. It tells you a lot of pocket pivots, upside reversals, VWAPs, pegs, power of 3, flags, full-time continuity, so on and so forth. So again, that's his new newsletter that he just started. Check him out on Twitter at Pattern Profits. All right. But going back to VNOM, looks great. Nice little breakout here, gigantic volume. Again, it's quad witching, but still all this accumulation. You want to be in oil and gas. VNOM looks like the name to be in my opinion. Next up is DLO, digital local. I think it's D-local, whatever. There's your gap up and there's your VWAP. Again, it's just kind of hanging around, underside, upside, VWAP. Starting to get tight now with the moving averages. So if it's going to make its move, it's going to make it soon, I think. If it starts to get below these moving averages, no reason to be involved in it. So decent risk reward, decent accumulation coming in here. Looks pretty good. Newer IPO name. All right. And there's 5 patience ones. So there's Dash, which we've talked about in the past. We talked about it breaking out, right? Well, now it's kind of moved. If you weren't in it, it's probably too late to start it here at this position, in my opinion. Probably needs to come back, retest, maybe close this gap, let these moving averages catch up, and then maybe move higher. There's AFRM. This was what I was watching as it was doing this VWAP pinch, and then had this gigantic day, 7%. Now it's kind of come back. So if you can, let these moving averages catch up, give me a good risk reward entry, that's a possibility for this name. But it has to give a good risk reward entry. And maybe it's going to soon, right? Maybe it's going to, we'll see. But it looks really good. AFRM, DOCN, just an absolute monster, right? Just absolute monster from $50, to high of 86 in a very short period of time. Extended, no doubt. So wait for it to come back. Maybe it needs to come back and, test 73, or maybe test this VWAP right there, 76. Let the moving averages catch up, and then maybe start a position at that point right there. Upstart, UPST, another monster, just keeps going higher. Doesn't let you in sometimes. I was in it. I did well on this. I made 100% or so, just over 100% on this name, which was really good. I got in, I think, like back here before I got out, somewhere around there. Yeah, it was just over 100% is what I made on it. That all being said, is now really extended. I took my profits. What I want to see for me to get involved, and I will hopefully get involved with this name again, is for this to come back in, consolidate a little bit more in this area, let these moving averages catch up, and then give me another nice risk reward area like I saw back here, right? This is where I got involved back here when I saw this nice bullish crossover and things were starting to look good again. Even with earnings coming up, I liked this volume pattern, and again, it's still pretty amazing. Just needs some time, and maybe the market, if we do get another 3, 4, 5% pullback in the general market, maybe that's will help us, create these entries that we need on these, more extended stocks. The last one is GDRX. It is what it is. GDRX here. Just beautiful uptrend we talked about last week. It broke out nicely and kept going higher, above all the moving averages, screaming higher. Now it's extended. Maybe this is an area where it kind of pulls back, consolidates before it makes its real breakout. We'll see. No one knows for sure, but there's definitely some accumulation going on in this name. So one that you want to be aware of. All right. Let's go ahead and look at some jet fuel scan names. ACMR. This one looks, pretty good. I think this is an area to, maybe manage risk against. It's right on the 29-day EMA, but under the VWAP here. So if this can kind of break out, above 110-ish, that's not a bad area right there, right? Again, these are jet fuel scan names, so they're going to be more volatile, and hopefully, you guys will play a smaller position size on them, and hopefully get a nice big move higher. That's ACMR. And the other one is going to be an old favorite of mine, which was Love, the Lovesac company. I was in this all the way up into here for a long time, did real well with it, sold it up in this area, once it started to go against me. I probably end up selling in this area, to be honest with you. That being said, it's now gone down pretty good and is now making its U-turn. So I like it against this VWAP right here. Nice consolidation going on. This is one that I would consider, maybe especially if it comes back into the VWAP, a little bit 64, which is right where the 9-day is about to show up. That looks really good. So we can get that going on there. Love is a potential jet fuel scan name. All right. Ready for the recap? Let's go. Last week, Palantir was on my top 5. Did very well with Palantir. If you're involved, I am involved in Palantir. Looks good. It's still on my list to move higher. DDOG. It's on my list every week, I think. It broke out, consolidating all-time highs, not moving crazy fast right now, but not doing anything wrong. So it's moving in the right direction. Looks good to me. Pretty good week on the week. So not bad at all. EDR was on there. Now, EDR was not very good, but we talked about it, right? We said it's got to get over this VWAP, right? This is where we found sellers in the past. So if EDR was going to be a long, and I never got long this name, it had to break out, and it didn't. It just rolled over the whole week, right? The whole week going down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? This was, never made it, never took out this tie right there. There was never a reason to be long EDR. It was a great looking setup. If it made it above the VWAP held as resistance so far. GDRX was on my list last week. That one did very well if you were involved with it. And NCNO was on my list last week. Again, you did very well if you were involved with that particular one also. All right, so pretty good last week, top 5. Let's talk about this week's top 5. I'm going to stick with Palantir. I think this one has more in the gas tank, and I think this continues to go higher. I think Unity Software looks primed to go. That's got to be on there. I think Snow looks like an absolute beast in the making. That is definitely one that I think we can, if it breaks out, could be involved with. Again, it's got to get above 326, close above 326. And I think this one could be amazing. Apps. You know what? I like this little launch pad. I like this volume coming in. I don't know if it's going to consolidate this week or not, but I think that eventually it's going to try to make it back up to this, we'll call it $100 level, right? Well, if it makes up to $100 level, that's a 50% move. Not bad, 50% move. But yeah, apps looks like it's on the launch pad. And the last one is going to be VNOM. Thanks to Ben. I think this one looks really, really good. Especially in the oil and gas, something that's not correlated really with growth names, but it looks just phenomenal. So there you go, top 5 right there. Yeah, that's what we got for you. All right, so we have 11 actual, 8 soon, 5 patients. We have a market that's a little wonky, but a lot of names are holding up well. I do believe now summer is officially over. I believe this is the whatever, tomorrow's the 20th, right? September 20th. Now the traders are back from vacation. Jewish holidays are over. Summer's over. Vacations are over. Quad witching's over. People are repositioning into where they want to be for the next quarter. And I think that's a big deal. So the market's going to give us a lot of information this week. Pay attention to it. Watch what happens with some of the big boys and with breadth. Right, breadth is a big deal right now, but remember, the bond market, in my opinion, is not confirming that there is a major market decline coming. So I am playing this as a pullback within an uptrend, basically a shakeout within the broader uptrend. We'll see if that's right or not. All right. Again, you like these videos, like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I really do appreciate that. So thank you very much for helping me out with that. And find me on Twitter at AlphaCharts365. I'm always on there posting charts, posting scans, answering, somebody's questions or whatever. I'm always on there. I'm very available. So anyway, y'all have a great week. Good luck. Take care.